You can download this final project file with proper naming for each part of the body, and link is in the description. Another point before starting is that this character is completely procedural. What I mean by procedural, I mean you can come here and change parameters, like look at her nose or look at the mouth or cheek or sleeves. You can play with most of her body parts like I showed you, and nothing is hard geometry without controllers that you can use. Okay, let's start making it. We are start by the head. Let's add a sphere. On display option, select something like constant shading. No, constant shading looks best. Select ground shading. Okay. On the sphere attribute, come to object and use and select hexadrome. Decrease this value to something like, I think 18 is okay. Then we also need hair scarf around her head. Duplicate the sphere by holding Control and drag. T, scale it up. Come here to lines to see inside. Drag out it a little bit. Come back to ground shading with lines. Grab it, push it forward a little bit. Now we need to make the face a little bit flatter. Select the face, hold down shift while adding correctional deformer. Select polygon mode. Now select these 4 polygons on the center. Also make sure the soft selection is activated. Here you can click the button, and after you grab move tool, there is a soft selection section here. You can play with the values. Let's change the strength a little bit. Okay, NA to go back to ground shading. From now on I use shortcuts for shading option. You can see which one I choose from here. Push out the scarf a little bit. Come back to face by selecting correctional deform. Push the face to the scarf a little bit. We also need making the scarf a little bit flatter. Do the same for it. Right left click here, shift by clicking correctional deformer, add it on top of the scarf. Hide the sphere by holding down alt and clicking on these 2 buttons. Select these 4, push them toward z axis a little bit. For the face, do the same again. Okay. Put each of them in a subdivision surface by holding down alt by clicking on the subdivision surface. Okay, that's good for now. Let's rename them. Head, no, this is head, the scarf. Okay, now let's make the nose. Open a new file. Don't close this file. We will copy paste the nose here. Let's add a MoGraph spline. Let's add a circle spline, put them into a sweep generator. Here, as you can see, it doesn't work. We need to put the mouse spline into a connect object. Hold down on by clicking on connect, select mouse spline, change the P angle to something like to -90 degrees. Make the circle smaller by scale tool. Now come to sweep, object, detail, and use this scale chart function, I don't know what to name this, to adjust the scale along the mouse spline. It starts small and it is small. Hold control by clicking on the middle, add a point. Now click on the first point, change the handle orientation, and do the same for the last one. Okay. Change the position of this until you get a result that you're happy with. Also, you can play around with the handles. And this is very dense. Let's decrease the density. Click on mouse spline, come to spline. For a step, lose something like 20 or even less. How about 10? We need something very low. I think 5 is okay for now. Let's decrease it for the circle. 4, 3, 2, 1, 2. Put everything inside the subdivision surface by holding down alt. As you can see, the button doesn't look that good. Turn off subdivision surface, put everything inside the image generator. From now on, I don't save by when we want to add generator, we put them as parent. So when something is selected, hold down alt by clicking on one of the generators and it will be its parent. And for the deformers, hold down shift while adding it to the object and it will be the child of that object. From now on, I won't repeat this. Holding down control, holding down shift, I won't repeat this too. Okay, a little bit better. Let's put everything inside and group, alt G. Let's add an smooth, decrease iteration. 2 is okay, I think. You can play around with values here, sweep, scale. Because we added it to a smoothing, we need to make it a little bit bigger each time. Let's change the order of this operation so we get a better result. Like when you are on sweep, Alt G is also for making groups, so I won't repeat this along this video. Alt G to put any object, to put any selected object inside another node. Alt. Okay, smooth here. Let's see what we get. It's not even symmetrical. Why is that? Okay, for smoothing I use these values. For CK I use 2 iterations. For multiply I use 5. My scale graph is something like this. And for remesh I turn on X symmetry and Z symmetry to have a perfect symmetry after remeshing along these 2 axes. Let's turn off the grid also for now. Click on filter, work plane. Now it looks okay. I played around with values again a little bit. My smoothing iteration is 4, stiffness 6. On sweep object my scale graph is something like this. On circle 2 for number value. On move spline I use 9 steps and I think it's okay for now. Copy the nodes from here to our main project. As you can see, it is very easy. We will scale everything together. Select the subdivision surface T, scale it down, push it forward. What? It disappeared. Push it forward, scale it down, scale it down. It seems it was calculating, and when it turns like this and nothing changes, just turn off and on remesh once and it will be okay. Scale it down. I pinned the reference for myself here to make it look more similar to what we tend to make. Let's turn off work plane from this project file also. Make the nose bigger. I think it is okay for now. Let's make the eyes. We start with the eyeball. Let's rename this to nose. Okay, it is always a good idea to also save our files and name it something like, what was the name of the character? Zari V1. Okay. For the eye, first let's add a circle spline, scale it down, push it forward, scale it down again, put it somewhere around here. Let's put it inside the connect object. Put it inside the null. Alt G, select the null. Alt FFT inside the null, holding down Shift. Fit to parent doesn't work. Right click on grid side. User interface, show subchannels. Make sure you selected all 3 by holding down Control. Drag to resize. We need to resize it on Z. Okay, we want to make it a little uneven like the eyes in the reference. Come to point mode. When you are in F50, Control A, T to scale and make it a little bit narrower. Then again put everything inside connect object and put everything inside extrude. Okay, extrude is very deep. Come to object and extrude and offset 0. ND, you see quick shading lines. We want it to have geometry. We want to shrink wrap the eyeball into the head. When you are on extrude, come to caps, use regular grid and play with this value. Nothing very large or very small. This size is okay. Now put everything inside the remesh generator. Activate symmetric X. For now, let's also decrease the mesh density to something like 50%. I think it is okay for now. Put everything inside the null. Alt G. Add a shrink wrap modifier inside the null. Where was it? Shrink wrap. Okay. Click on this eyedropper. Select head, and as you can see, it put the object onto the head. One point here is we prefer to use something like along normals here, and as you can see, it also changes the orientation of the eyeballs, so there is a little bit of stretch on it. So we rotate the eyeball by hand a little bit to have the same orientation with surface of the face, and we get better result after applying shrink wrap. Okay, now put the null inside the thicken generator, decrease it to something like 1.5 is okay for now, and put everything inside the subdivision surface. NA, let's make it bigger for now. T on the subdivision surface and play with the values until you are happy. Select the null that contains our FFD and the spline, hit T and scale the eyeball as much as you want. Now we want to to symmetrize it. Let's put everything inside the symmetry. This time don't click the subdivision surface holding down Alt and clicking on symmetry, because symmetry needs to be in the middle of the scene. By doing this, it will be in the middle of the eye and it won't work correctly. So let's this time add a symmetry and drag and drop subdivision surface under symmetry. Now you can rotate the eye a little bit, push it down, rotate it here. And what I really like about this setup is that you can, for example, push out this from this null here, and because we are using a shrink wrap modifier, it won't affect the final result. The depth of the eyeball is always same. I'm happy about this one. Let's rename this to eyeball. It is also same for the pupil. So let's hold down Control by dragging this to duplicate it, rename it to pupil, open it, select this null, T, scale it down, and these two axes, come to thicken, hold down Alt by dragging to change this value. Okay, another thing is that there is light reflection on the pupil. How we can make that? So on the circle here, let's add an spline mask, and we discussed a spline mask and all these splines generators and all you need to know about splines in Cinema 4D in a separated video. We added a spline mask. Let's duplicate this circle by holding down Control and drag. Let's make the second one smaller. We cannot see what's really happening. Let's turn off all the above generator for this one. Okay, what's really happening? A spline mask is on the union. Make it A subtract B. Click on circle 1. Let's also change the position of these two. Make the circle 1 smaller. Okay, turn back on all of these. And as you can see, it's working. Now you can select the circle 1, E. Make sure you are on the local coordinate system and drag this and put it whenever you want. It's not working correctly. Why? Because we have enabled symmetry X for the remesh here. Turn it off, and as you can see, you can change it and put it whenever you want. I'm happy about this one now. Now what about cheeks? For the cheeks, it's the same as again eyeball. I duplicate it, come to remesh, come to thicken, make it thicker, not this much, a little bit. Select this null, drag it down around here and rotate it a little bit. Let's turn off symmetry for this remesh also. ND, turn off the subdivision surface, come back to null, T, scale it a little bit more, push it down, turn on subdivision surface NA. This was the file I showed you earlier. Let's see what values we used here. The structure is the same, but we use much smaller values for the remesher. How about 20? ND. It is all about playing with the values, nothing special. The structure of the final file I showed you, and this is that I'm making here, is the same. For image of people, let's make it its low density. Turn back on the subdivision surface for people. People is okay for now. Let's get back to cheek. What was this value? Let's turn off some of these, thicken, and also subdivision surface, shrink wrap, extrude. Let's make it lower density, something like 20 is okay. Remesh it, make it thicker. Let's increase the remesh density to 50 or even higher, 80. So I found a little problem here, and this is a great situation. I can teach you something that wasn't in my script. As you can see, the center axis for this circle, connect, FFD and null are at the same place. But after this, because we changed the position of the null from here, the connect and all other objects have the center axis up. And what's the problem about this? Nothing. Just when we make the object, we cannot use the symmetry option on the remesh generator, and because of this, it is a little bit off. How we can put the axis of this remesh back to where the circle is? Let's minimize the photo for now. Come here to tools, axis, select axis center. Now we want to make the parent axis same as its child. Select the child, select the action parent to from here, and click execute. Then now the child and the parent axis now are same, and we do it for all the child and parent in this cheek object. Select on connect, parent to execute, extrude, execute, remesh, execute, null, execute, beacon, execute. So what happened now? As you can see, all objects in the hierarchy have the same place for the center axis of the object. Now I can come to remesh object and hit symmetrics, and the cheeks are perfectly symmetrical along the Y axis here. I can also hit symmetry Y. Now on the both Y and X they are symmetrical. Now it is much more smoother and symmetrical for the cheeks. I love it. Let's close axis center for now. Open the reference again. Okay, let's rename eyeball 1 to cheeks. Let's close all this. NA, NA. Okay, let's add mouth here. For the mouth base spline, let's come to front view, spline, and select the spline pen and click 3 times to make something like this for mouth. Then hit escape, come back to model mode, select the spline. From this menu type, select something like Akima, and as you can see, it made it smooth. Put it inside the null, Alt G, add a shrink wrap, modify. So my microphone stopped working after adding shrink wrap. I was explaining why we use connect object this much. It keeps the software to think as the generators and deformers in the process, not be considered and see the whole object as something like a geometry or a spline without any extra modifiers in between. So it would increase the safety of working and decrease the risk of not working some functionality in the future. So we most of the time when we had problems we use something like connect generator, and I'm knowing this in when to put this because I made this scene once and this is the second time that I'm making it with you. Okay, let's add a circle spline, decrease its size, push it out the geometry, decrease the size even more, select connect, put it inside the sweep object, put the circle also inside the sweep object. The order is important. Put the circle above. Now it is working somehow, but we want the corners to be smooth. ND. How we can deal with that? We can use bevel. Put sweep inside the null, Alt G, add bevel, holding a shift bevel, and as you can see we have a little bit bevel. We can change the offset, hold Alt to change it gently, and put everything inside the subdivision surface. Bevel, increase its subdivision, puts everything inside subdivision surface. It is working, but the density of mesh is very much. And D, turn off subdivision for now. Let's select our spline. Change the adaptive to adaptive is okay. You can change this angle value to get something with less geometry or more. I play with the value to get a result I like. On the circle also you can change the uniform value to something like, for example, 2. Let's play with the values and see what we get. How about putting a smooth modifier also here after bevel? It's not working as we like it. Change the iteration. No, I didn't like it. Let's change the value for this something like 7. For the circle to 2 I think is okay. For the bevel let's use 104, 104, let's offset in 2. And I saw these values from my first file because I played with the value a lot here. So it is very smooth now and I don't like it. We can also change the radius for the mouth. For now it is okay. Let's make it a little smaller. Select the spline, spline magnet, a spline magnet. Make it smaller, not this much, okay. And on model mode on a spline with the magnet, you can adjust the mouth very easily. Okay, let's come back to bevel, change the offset a little bit, and I'm happy with it now. Now it's the time for the hair. Come to front view, spline pen, sketch is better now. Main tool of a spline, sketch, and draw roughly the hair shape. This is very bad. Again, Control Z. Not this much rough. Much better. Control Z. Let's also connect the start and end. Okay. Come here, spline smooth, and move it along the spline by clicking to make it smoother with less points on it. As I mentioned, we discussed all these tools about the splines in our spline video. Okay, grab it, push it forward, come back to spline tool, magnet, make it bigger, fall off width, increase the fall off width, I don't like what's happening. Decrease the strength a little bit. I also turned off the snap visible. Okay, this is good for now. But how to make it a snap to the head, just like what we did with the eyes. And I think the scarf is too small for this head. So let's get back to correctional. Come to front view, T, grab this handle and make it not this much, but a little bit bigger. Play with the handles and value. There is no specific values that I can tell you. Play with them until you are happy. Maybe also push it out a little bit or push it forward. Make it your own. Okay. Let's use same structure as we used for the pupil. Or just let's reuse it. Don't make that disaster again. Let's think about it. Make the disaster again or no. Let's make it again. Select the spline. Come to here. Select extrude. Offset 0. ND. Come to cap. Grid. I think around this value is okay. Put it inside the remesh. Try to make this from yourself. We explained the structure in the pupil, eyeball and cheeks. This is same. Okay, let's push it closer to the head. Let's also change the orientation to make it parallel with the head. Alt G. Let's add a shrink wrap. Okay, what was this? A spline wrap? No, shrink wrap. Shrink wrap, select the head. No, that's terrible. Why it is terrible? Because it is using normals, and I don't think that I use normal for this one. Let's see what I used. Tangent axis after image. Let's use tangent. Tangent always work, but the downside is that it will shrink the shape. Normal is better if it works because it will see the normal of this surface and this one to match it and not make it smaller. But tangent work more reliable. We don't want to push it to 100%. This value is okay. Let's push it up a little bit. Okay. Let's also increase the strength on this. Okay. Put everything inside thicken. Let's decrease the thickness holding down Alt. Okay. This is not okay because it came out of the scarf. Because of this, I think we need to make the scarf a little bit big. Before this, let's put the thicken inside subdivision surface. This is very dense. We don't want this much density. Let's decrease the mesh density to something like 40. Much better now. Let's turn off subdivision. Great. Okay. And we need to change the scarf size. Get back to a scarf, correctional deformer. Let's come to side view, come T from the front view, make it bigger. And these two axes, as you can see, we are not adding to the depth, but it is covering the face. So let's select the front side of it, come to polygon mode. We have selected these 4 sides. Let's turn off polygon, select these 4 front, push them to much better now. Push it even further. Let's see it from the side. We can even push it further more. We can hit T to make this even flatter. Soft selection. Let's turn off soft selection from here and make it flatter. Oh, look at this cutie. Okay, let's push the scarf front a little bit. It is now, I think, too much big. Let's make it smaller. Holding down. It's okay for now. I love what we got. We can play around with the hair more to get results you want. Coming to the hair spline and with the magnet, you can come here, turn off shrink wrap for it, and turn on remesh, play with the shade, turn off subdivision, so turn off everything. How about turning off everything? Make this bigger. It's not that smooth anymore. It wasn't even at first. Look at this disaster. Let's see what's causing this. Shrink wrap. Let's decrease the shrink wrap. Oh my god. Remesh. Remesh is blocking everything. What's the problem? The problem is that the head is not on this one plane anymore. Let's turn this off. As you can see, it has a curvature now because we use magnet, and magnet don't give a shit about curvature. Select the spline, select this, select move tool, select the spline, hit T, grab this blue axis, hold down shift, and while you drag, make it 0. Now this is again plane. Turn back on your generators and deformers. Oh, and as you can see now it fits much better. Our hair here is making more like a boy. This one look more like a girl. And the only difference here and here is that I'm using, let's see, the spline is I think better here. Yes, I use the better shape for the spline. Let's first make it small, make it bigger. Try this so it is not working. Make it smaller, check on magnets. White is working this. Make it it's not working. How about trying this one? It's like that. And stitch. Pretend that I'm not angry. That we miss the shape there. Let's see what we have here. We shake this region with me. We should forward, keeping the place of the old one. It's not working. What's the problem? True, but is there again something? Oh, it is not close. Okay, I regroup the spline with the spline station. And for now, let's delete the old one. Actually, it is not about 3D anymore. It is about how you can draw a perfect shape or not perfect shape. Okay, let's move on. What is her neck? Her neck is a cube, not a real cube, but a cube that we push down here. ND to see its polygons. Select the segmentation, increase it on all axes 1. Put an correctional deformer under it. UL on edge mode on correctional deformer to select this edge. T to scale and scale it a little bit to get a shape like this. Put everything inside the subdivision surface to get this disaster. Now, when we get this disaster, what we do, we use bevel modifier after correctional deformer. Okay, we change the bevel value. We come to front view, select the correctional deformer, come to model mode, scale it, scale it, scale it. Bevel, let's decrease the value, let's offset it more. Play with the value. The value that I'm happy with now is 36 for angle threshold and offset 3/4. Okay, you can make the correctional deformer even wider, not a problem. Let's save as this file that we don't ruin it again. And we have this part for now. What else? How about adding the body? What's the body? I think it is a cube again, but let's add a cylinder for the sake of being fun. Make it smaller. It changing size from the center. I don't like it. I want it changed size from one of the surfaces. How we achieve that? Come to asset browser here and search for axis. Drag and drop it on their cylinder. Axis 100% minus 100%. Push the cylinder up here, and now when I change the size of the cylinder, it is changing from this axis. I love it. When I change the size, it is changing from there. Okay, let's make it smaller here. We can put it on the knob, add the bevel, change the offset a little bit, change the subdivision. I don't think we need to put it inside subdivision surface. It's okay for now. We have a belt. Let's duplicate everything. Click on the, let's rename some stuff. We forget to rename it. What's this? Mouth. What's this? Hair. What's this? Neck. Let's put everything about head inside another group, Alt G, head group. And this is body group. This is neck, this is body. Let's duplicate the body by holding the control, by dragging the body, push it down, cylinder. Let's decrease the height from here. Oh, and we did something that we need to. Let's turn off the bevel for now. Let's also make it a little bit wider here. Everything has a bevel, but not this much. Make it a smaller, very, very tiny bit bevel. Let's add another subdivision. Let's put everything inside subdivision surface. NA, very smooth. Let's put the body also inside subdivision. Okay, smoother now. Let's push it up. Nice. Let's add the torso. What's her torso? Okay, sphere. I love this things. This stuff can really make a torso from a sphere. This simple. What else do you want? Let's make this also smaller. His body is very small with the torso here. Okay, let's add her sleeves and hands and arms. What are they? They are exactly same as the torso, the body that we made. So duplicate it, select the body here, control by dragging, duplicate it, call it sleeve. I rotate it, come here, come to cylinder, make it bigger. Change the radius to make it smaller on this side. Select everything, put it here. Oh my god, look at this big baby hands. And why I keep this, all of these parts primitive geometries and not making them editable with C, why I do that? This gives me the flexibility to change the values at any time and change the the better thing. The segmentations easily. Oh my god, look how easy you can achieve all this. Let's make them sharper with the bevel value. Okay, we want it to be on the other side also, but we use symmetry. Add symmetry, put the sleeves under symmetry, name this torso. Her hand also is shown from the under the sleeves. Duplicate the sleeves by holding down control, rename the sleeves to arm, change the height of it, come back to the sleeve, make the radius bigger, NA, perfect. And now we need foot and legs. Let's put everything inside another node. Let's call this hands group. And what about legs group? Let's duplicate R by holding a control. Just rename it to legs. Let's make the rotation 0 by right clicking on this value, getting this, push it down, come to cylinder, change this value. Also we can make it shorter. And look at this axis, I love this. And now when I change the height of the legs, it is really doing what I think of. See it without geometry axis. When I change the height, it changed from the both sides. Oh my god. Make it shorter. What about shoes? Shoes are very similar to her neck. Duplicate the neck by holding down control and drag. Put it here. Come to up view. Select correctional for it. T. Change the size to make it smaller. Grab everything. Push it down. Make it more smooth. Change the bevel values. For offset, I change it to something like 6.4. Name this one shoes. Put it under symmetry. We are almost there. What left? Her hand. And I think this time her head is a little bit bigger on the scarf side, but as you understand now on, there is not that much of difference. You can change the size of each part, and you also have access to this file, link in the descriptions below. Okay, let's see what else is changed. For this part, you can use anything you like. You can, for example, add something like a oil tank. And why I mentioned oil tank, you can change the cap height to make it more like a capsule. Control T, resize it, put it here, rotate T. Or you can just duplicate the leg or neck and put it here and change and play with the values as I showed you. And this is all what you prefer. There isn't any hard rule here. Okay, let's finish it by making hand. Open a new file. Come back to our old file, select her neck, duplicate it here, Alt 0 to reset the coordination, to reset the transformation. She has 3 fingers with a thumb. What are her fingers like? Her fingers like an old tank. Change the rotation, come to old tank, change the axis to positive Z, change the height cap, and also change the height and radius to a smaller value. Can duplicate and offset each finger by holding a control, duplicating it. Okay, now we have 3 sausage. Duplicate it for thumb, rotate it. I'm using W to change the transformation axis from local to global. Make this one shorter and bigger. Also change the height cap for it. Okay, these are my final values for the hand, neck, why neck, hand. For the bevel, I use 36 and 7/8 on offset. And you can see the width and height of palm and fingers from the side. Now let's copy it. Let's copy it and paste it here. Where is it? It is inside the head. Push it forward. Save as the file. It is very big. Come to top view, select the hand, select axis, enable axis, put the axis somewhere here, turn it off, T for scale, make it smaller, grab it, put it here. Look at these hands. Thumb should be on the opposite side, rotate it 180 by holding down shift. Okay, let's see the reference again. Oh no, don't rotate this, and rotate. It seems okay. We just need to make it symmetry. So put it under symmetry under hand group. That's all about this video. And how about making the material? Take this side panel, click on this pillars, double click on the material. We need just emission. We want material to be one color without any data about light. So we select RS standard, turn off base and turn off reflection, come down to this emission, click on this eyedropper to select color, select the color from the scart, weight 1 and put it on the parts that you want, or you can select the parts and put it in the object manager. How about making other colors? Hold down control by dragging on one of the materials, change the color, select another part or that part, and do this for all other parts. But like for some objects that we put in symmetry, like the eyes, after making the material, come here, emission, pupil. First select it from the viewport, come to object manager, hit S to find the symmetry, then click to find the object you want. We want pupil for now, and that's all for the other parts. Select everything, hold Alt G to put it in a group, call it character. There is a bug in this file, I cannot add a backdrop, so select the character, Ctrl C, make a new file, Ctrl V. Okay, let's make a backdrop here. What? It is making it in the node editor? No! Close anything related to nodes and materials, make the backdrop, make the backdrop bigger, select the character, push it up, okay, and you can add something like infinite light, R for rotate. No, change the orientation of infinite light. And after adding the material to all your parts, it would be something like this. Please load. Okay, after that, center the object in the viewport to put it whenever you want. Any angle, hold down on this. Let's trim this. Materials also, we don't need this and not this. Hold down on this play button, RS render view. We can play, and as you can see, our front character is ready. You can click on this to render the final image. Wait a little bit. And as you can see, your final render is ready. You can save image as, for example, I call this, let's save it as PNG, call this, what was her name? Zari. And yeah, and that's what was all for this video. Bye bye.